Now, what are some of the risks to think about? Of course, there are always risks. So who's the managing team of the business? Like, number one, that's the first thing I'd go and look at. Like, what track record do they have? How hardcore a Bitcoin maxi are they? How much appetite for risk have they got? What kind of debt do you reckon they can get their hands on? Will they issue more equity? And start there, right? The best people will be out there in public talking about what they're talking about. And for example, I've listened to the MetaPlanet CEO talking, and he's just like ex Goldman Sachs. These guys aren't fucking around. They really know what they're doing. I have a small position in Matador, and Devon, who's running that business, is the same, right? These guys, they really understand their ways around capital markets, and for that reason, they make a great bet. And actually, shout out to the guys building Matador, because that's really given me a taste for looking at this space more seriously. It's like, okay, I've made some, paper gains because I'm not selling it by any means, but it's like, okay, wow, this is something that's really working. And in some ways, that's what investing is, right? It's like you want to be making bets, and when you make a bet, you get a bit of skin in the game, you get a bit of a flavor for it. And in some ways, I should just do this with MSTR. I should just buy some and just sit on it and see how it feels. And in the sense of like a game of poker, right? You get your initial hand and you can see if it's like half good or not great or whatever. But the second that the fourth card comes down, you're like, oh wow, okay, there's only one more card to be played, and am I going to like up my bet or am I out? And you can start to see a trend, right? And the same applies with putting money into different investments. You'll put some money into something and it just does nothing. And the truth is, it's always a guess. It's like, I think this is a good idea. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. And then 6 months later, or 3 months later, or 3 years later, whatever your initial strategy was for the hold period, you can then review and be like, has this done what we expected? What's been good? What's been bad? The good, the bad, and the ugly is always quite a way of running through it. And put more money in, right? Why not? In some ways, with Matador, when it IPO'd, it started trading at a number less than what I paid. And what I probably should have done is I should have bought more. But I just wasn't in the right headspace, because I wasn't really thinking about it more than like, okay, this is a speculative bet. There's a person involved in the business in particular that I really like. And for that reason, I'm in with some capital. Let's just see how it goes. And then here I am 6 months later going, okay, well, it's gone well in terms of price action. What's been going on under the hood? Well, I'm starting to see newsletters each week, and that's interesting. And it's like, well, where might this go? Well, look at all this other kind of market information that's coming out about different businesses doing similar stuff. Well, the truth is this trend is big. So if you can catch the trend is your friend. Now, one thing I guess I would say as a risk is I'm very, very aware of the connection between the equity price of these Bitcoin treasury businesses, as they are balance sheet plays. So they're trading at multiples of net asset value. So if someone's got one Bitcoin on the balance sheet, then it might be an equity price of 1.2 or 1.4. It depends what it's actually been valued at the time, like whatever the market is obviously selling at. But I'm very wary of the next bear market. Like, I think the all-time high will be set at some point over the next 3 to 6 months, and then we're going to have an absolutely savage sell-off. And that's purely based on historical information. I don't see the trend of the 4-year cycle breaking. Some people out there will be talking up the fact this is a super cycle and there's more money coming in than ever before. Well, Bitcoin seems to track the global M2, the global liquidity supply, very, very closely. And I think that with the halving process involved, there's no reason why, in my mind at least, that's what I'm preparing for. It's like, okay, we're going to get a nice gain over the next 3 to 6 months, and then it's going to sell off like an absolute bitch. And when that happens, these Bitcoin treasury companies are going to plummet as well, because they are full of speculative hounds, right? People who've got fiat, they've got dollars, they're betting on stocks, and they hear about this Bitcoin stuff. It's like, this is just another Bitcoin stock. Okay, great. Let's put some money in. And in some ways, it's great because the excess liquidity floating around the system that sometimes people would have considered crypto tokens, right? They get their Coinbase account, they flip it into USDT or USDC, and then they go and bet on some crypto tokens. And instead of saying, oh, I can't afford a whole Bitcoin, I can get 10 of these, the unit bias plays a part. There's then all the pump and dump groups on Telegram that are pumping stuff out there. This is a much, much, much better investment than a crypto token. Like, hands down, right? So it's an equity, so it's part of a business. That business, generally speaking, will be on a stock listed will be on an exchange. So there's a regulation process. There's, a team of lawyers, team of accountants, team of rules to abide by. That to me is a much, much better place to be making speculative bets than in crypto tokens. But each to their own, right? You do whatever you want with your money.